The invaders, the Vark hegemony, didn't conquer with technology alone. They conquered with the world breakers. These were not machines. They were bioengineered nightmares, Gorgon titans the size of mountain ranges, six-legged behemoths with armor thicker than a battleship's hull and a roar that could liquefy human lungs within a mile. The Vark viewed the universe as a hierarchy of dominance. They enslaved these titans using neural yokes, massive, spiked collars that jammed the creature's instincts into a state of permanent, agonizing obedience. When the first Gorgon stepped onto the soil of Earth, it didn't just walk, it terraformed. Its footprints were craters, its tail swings were hurricanes. The Vark sat in ornate towers bolted directly onto the beast's spines, looking down at our primitive armies like gods looking at insects. They believed that because we were small, we were prey. They thought that by bringing the biggest monsters in the galaxy, they had already won the war for the food chain. They forgot the most basic rule of nature. The biggest beast is just a bigger target for the ultimate predator. They assumed that because we didn't have titans of our own, we would cower in the dirt. They were catastrophically wrong. They forgot that the history of humanity is the history of the hunt. We didn't survive the prehistoric world by being the biggest, we survived by being the smartest and the most ruthless. We didn't hide from the mammoth, we led it into a pit. We didn't flee from the wolf, we broke its spirit and made it our own. We created the Primal Link protocol. And we birthed the first Titan sabotage wing. The Beast-Awakeners. We don't use tanks. A tank is just a pebble to a Gorgon. We don't use jets. A jet is just a gnat. Instead, we use alpha frames, high mobility, magnetic tethered exoskeletons designed for vertical hadal combat. We are the parasites that kill the host. We don't try to kill the beast from the outside, we climb it. We infiltrate the skin folds, the chitin forests, and the slaver towers until we reach the primary neural node. We don't carry bombs to blow the beast up. We carry neural spikes, quantum shunts that allow us to hijack the creature's nervous system. We don't just stop the monster, we awaken it. We show the beast that the Vark aren't its masters, we are. We give the Titan a choice, serve the apex or die with the slavers. I am Commander Alpha 1 Jax. My heart rate is currently synced to the rhythmic thumping of the Bane Titan's primary heart. And I'm about to wake up the mountain. The mission was the subjugation of the Apex Bane, the largest Gorgon in the Vark fleet. It was currently standing over the ruins of Singapore, its massive legs crushing the sea walls as the Vark prepared to launch their final planetary sweep from the towers on its back. Tethers to hot standby. Jump jets at 100%. Drop the anchors. I roared. My voice was a metallic growl through the liquid oxygen in my helmet. Awakener 2 Sarah. Gravity is shifting. The beast is turning. It's like climbing a landslide, Jax. Awakener 3 Kale. I've got Vark, Skinguard, drones emerging from the chitin pores. They know we're on the hide. We dropped from the stealth prowler at 30,000 feet, plummeting like black needles toward the beast's back. The Bane Titan was so large it had its own localized weather system. We fell through a layer of toxic clouds generated by its own respiratory vents. I hit the beast's spine with a bone-jarring thud, my mag boots instantly locking onto the jagged, obsidian-like scales. Immediately the skin guards swarmed. These were small multi-legged alien constructs that scurried across the beast's hide to protect the slaver towers. They fired pulses of searing green plasma, the bolts hissing as they melted the surface of the Titan's armor beneath my feet. Ignore the drones. Push to the neural spire. I sprinted across the valley of the spine. To my left and right, massive hairs the size of redwood trees swayed in the wind of the beast's movement. I fired my grapple bolt, the carbon fiber line pulling me across a 200-foot gap where a skin vent was spewing superheated steam. I reached the first slaver tower, a gleaming spire of white marble and gold bolted directly into the Titan's nervous system. Vark snipers leaned from the balconies, their long-range rifles tracking my heat signature. Sarah. Take the balconies. Cal. Blow the seal. Sarah leaped into the air, her jump jets flaring blue. She didn't use a gun, she used vibroclaws, slicing through the Vark snipers with a feral speed that left nothing but silver alien blood on the white stone. Kale slammed a thermal charge into the tower's base, the explosion rocking the entire structure. I didn't stop to watch. I reached the brainwell, the primary interface where the Vark neural yoke was driven 6 feet into the creature's cranium. It was a pulsing lake of violet neural fluid, surrounded by humming alien machinery. The High Slaver stood there, a spindly four-armed alien in ornate robes, holding a command staff that vibrated with the energy of the beast's agony. Kneel, small thing, the High Slaver's telepathic voice boomed in my skull. You are beneath the hegemony. This beast is our will. This beast is an animal, I spat, my vision narrowing as my alpha sync kicked in. And you've been a very bad owner, I charged. The High Slaver raised his staff, unleashing a wave of pure neural pain that should have paralyzed me. But the alpha frame was built for this. My suit's internal pain buffer absorbed the shock, converting the alien's telepathic attack into raw kinetic energy for my thrusters. I closed the distance in a heartbeat. I didn't use a blade. I used my neural spike, a 3-foot-long spear of blue light. I drove the spike directly into the High Slaver's chest, the quantum charge scrambling his connection to the beast. He didn't just die. His mind was backfed with the collective rage of the creature he had been torturing for centuries. He screamed once before his brain case melted into a slurry of gray matter. Alpha 1 to all units. The yoke is exposed. Initiating the awakening. I grabbed the controls of the neural yoke. I didn't shut it down. I inverted it. I reached into the mind of the Bane Titan. It was a world of darkness, chains, and endless fire. The creature was ancient, lonely, and filled with a hatred so vast it could swallow a sun. I didn't try to command it. I didn't try to be its master. I offered it a deal. I am the predator who frees you, I sent into the void of its mind, focusing the raw, primal dominance of the human spirit. Feel my will. We are the apex. And the slavers are food. For a heartbeat, the beast fought me. It tried to crush my mind with its sheer scale. But I stood my ground, my alpha node glowing white-hot as I projected the image of 1,000 generations of human hunters. I showed it the spear, the fire, and the kill. The Bane Titan stopped screaming. The violet light of the neural yoke turned a brilliant, feral orange. Across the battlefield of Earth, the massive creature suddenly went still. The Vark fleet, hovering in the sky, sensed the change. They began to fire everything they had at the beast's head, realizing their weapon was no longer theirs. Hold on to something. I roared. The Bane Titan roared back. It wasn't a roar of pain anymore. It was a roar of liberation. The mountain-sized beast reared up on its hind legs, its front claws swiping through the clouds. It caught 3 Vark dreadnoughts in its massive grip, crushing them into balls of scrap metal as if they were made of tinfoil. It began to walk, but not toward our cities. It turned toward the Vark landing zones. Every step it took was a death sentence for the hegemony. The slaver towers on its back were shaken off like fleas, the Vark aristocrats screaming as they fell thousands of feet to the ground. The beast used its tail to swat the remaining alien ships out of the sky, turning the invincible fleet into a rain of fire. We've got control. She's clearing the sector. Sarah yelled, her silhouette visible against the exploding alien dreadnoughts. I stood on the very tip of the Titan's head, my neural spike still connected to the brain node. I could feel the creature's joy. I could feel its hunger. For the first time in its life, it was hunting for itself. Or rather, it was hunting for us. The Vark hegemony, seeing their greatest bioweapons turning on them with a ferocity they couldn't calculate, retreated into the upper atmosphere. They had come to Earth thinking they were at the top of the pyramid. They found out the hard way that when humanity meets a monster, we don't just kill it, we make it the newest member of our pack. The Bane Titan reached the Vark's primary command spire on the coast. With a single, earth-shaking lunge, it drove its tusks through the structure, the million-ton building collapsing into the sea. The invasion of Singapore was over. The Vark presence in the sector was erased. I slowly disengaged the neural spike. The orange light faded to a calm blue. The Titan let out a low, vibrating rumble, a purr that shook the tectonic plates. It was free. Sarah. Go. Sound off. I'm here, Jax. The beast it's actually looking at us. I think it likes us. Still standing. I'm gonna need a new pair of boots, but the Alpha Link is solid. The sector is clear. I looked out over the horizon. The sun was setting, the light reflecting off the chrome of our armor and the obsidian scales of the Titan. We stood there, a handful of humans atop a mountain of flesh, the undisputed masters of the battlefield. Humanity has proven the ultimate truth of the apex retribution. You can bring your giants. You can bring your ancient horrors. You can try to crush us with the weight of the galaxy. But we are the species that knows how to find the leash. We are the ones who don't just survive the monsters. We become the things the monsters are afraid of. We are the Beast-Awakeners. We are the first Titan sabotage wing. And the chain belongs to the apex. The Bane Titan is ours. The slavers are dead. The world is safe. The mission is over. Now someone get me a transport. I want to see what this thing looks like from the ground.